Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is Derek Afasi. I'm the owner of Afasi Financial Group and RetireSharp.com. Today's topic I want to discuss with you retirement for dummies. And I want to break down this video into two different segments. One, with the individuals that are just starting out for retirement planning and they're trying to accumulate their wealth. What are some different things to avoid and make sure that you're accentuating? And then the other is for those individuals later on in life, the ones that have already accumulated their retirement nest egg, and how to take proper preservation and distribution strategies to make sure that they have that peace of mind in retirement. So I have another video out there with retirement for dummies, mainly on the wealth accumulation side. This is going to be a culmination of all of it across the board, so I hope you enjoy. Basically, regarding the accumulation side, what typically happens is an individual works for a specific company, and this company is going to, whether it's a federal agency, whether it's a private employer, a public employer, whatever the case may be, would determine what sort of retirement options you might have. So if this person's working for, let's say, a private institution, and this private institution is trying to give them additional benefits of saying, we have something known as a 401k plan here for this employee. What essentially happens is this individual is going to go to work and is going to make income each and every month, each and every year. With a 401k type retirement strategy, an individual could place a portion of a salary into this sort of 401k plan. Think of it like a 401k, like a retirement bucket. So each and every month, each and every pay period, he's placing more and more, he or she is placing more and more dollars into this 401k account. So if, let's say, this 401k account had a fixed account associated with it, well, then this bucket is going to be growing each year by the contributions into this account, and then also the interest credit is going to be a fixed interest credit as well. So the combination between those two are going to try to make this bucket grow larger and larger and larger at the end of the day, at the end of the year. So eventually, when this individual is working, they started working in their 20s, they decide, okay, I'm going to stop working when I'm in my 60s. They have about, 30 to 40 years plus of growth of doing those small incremental, contributions into that type of plan. So that's the correct mindset to have, is to say, if I'm placing dollars aside, I want to make sure that I'm eliminating the negatives. I want to make sure that I'm avoiding any sort of downward losses or flaws within this plan that could eliminate, that could say, okay, my bucket's growing, 1 year and then all of a sudden it gets depleted the next year. How exactly do I prevent that? So many times, and this 401k is the most common type of retirement account that individuals possess. And the mistake that's made is they don't understand the negatives that are associated with those 401k related plans or those retirement related plans. And the negatives are known as reverse dollar cost averaging. And what it says is when you're placing dollars into a type of plan such as a 401k, yeah, you might have a fixed account option or you might have certain stock options, but majority of the times you have something known as mutual fund related options. So you might say, okay, like a target date fund or a conservative portfolio, an aggressive portfolio, where it's comprised of a mixture of stocks and bonds into these types of mutual fund related options. Well, the 401k has their own slew of fees associated with that type of plan. So the most common type of retirement account in America today is the 401k account. Understand there's fees associated with that type of plan. When you're choosing mutual funds within that plan, those are going to be additional fees with this type of plan. So individuals get smart and they say, well, I just want to focus on my job. I don't want to, try to worry about what I'm invested into. I'm going to go and hire an advisor to monitor this account. I might only have about 5 to 15 different fund options to choose from, but that's still more than anything I could chew. I don't want to deal with it. I just want to go to work, know that I'm placing dollars aside, and know that those dollars are growing. Well, that's where you have these advisors. You have many advisors, wealth accumulation specialists, as they like to call themselves, that they will charge you a fee for that, whether that's a flat fee or whether that's a management fee to help monitor those types of accounts. That advisor could charge you different fees. So what do we have here? If we're thinking this in the terms of a bucket, we have the first hole is the 401k related fees, the second hole is the mutual fund related fees, and the third hole is the advisor fee. So you're saying, okay, this advisor better be good if I'm giving him any sort of fee. The problem that lies there is there's no guarantees when you're dealing with advisors to monitor those accounts. The only thing that's guaranteed is that you're going to be paying a fee. The fourth negative with this is a downward market loss potential. So when somebody's in their 20s and they're starting to accumulate monies for retirement, they're looking and they're saying, okay, well, I understand that mutual funds or, my different options might be tied to the market, and historically the stock market has always gone up. Well, whenever that market goes down, you have to incorporate that negative to the account. So, like in 2008 was a prime example, individuals had mutual fund related options that were tied 100% to the market. So, when the market had that large shift, you had individuals that were saving dollars, saving hundreds of thousands of dollars into their 401k account throughout the years. And because of that one shift, let's say if they had $800,000 in their 401k account, they left that year with $400,000 into their 401k account. It was that minus 50% loss that had such an impact on those portfolios. So this loss is a huge deal. Yes, the advisor could help mask that loss and they could give you great recommendations on, potentially having that loss based upon what your risk tolerance is. But the downside is if the market's going to go down, the market's going to go down. There's nothing that that advisor could do about it. And that's why they're trying to tell you to invest in the long term, invest in the long term. My whole concept behind this is if there's a way that you could set up a plan to eliminate these different types of fees and have positive interest credits when the market goes up and not lose anything when the market goes down, well then you're incorporating the power of compound interest in a positive direction. So when we're looking at the bucket theory and we're placing dollars into a specific type of plan, well, what's there a way that we know this interest credit is either going to be positive or is either going to come back at 0%? Is it going to be positive or is it going to come back at 0%? Now, both ways could get you to that finish line. Both ways could get you a nice, consistent growth pattern to your account. The difference between a safe, consistent way and a guessing way is yes, the big question mark, the guess might be able to get you higher growth potential, where the consistent way is just you're going to be slightly treading. You might have 10% one year, 12% another, 4% another year, 0% another. Well, this one might gain, 20%, 16%, minus 25%, and it'd be all over the place. So, obviously hindsight's 2020. You want to be able to avoid any downward market losses, but when you do that, when you try to say I'm going to time out the market, what you're doing is you're saying I have to rely and take my money out of the market, place it into something that's fixed, and then also you have to be right twice essentially. You have to make sure that you're placing it back into the market when the market's at a low. And time again, it doesn't matter how great this financial advisor is or this wealth accumulation specialist is, that's very hard to do. It's very hard to determine. You have 10 million different, mouths that are telling you, okay, this might be happening with the market. So that's why I like those safe, consistent patterns with specific retirement vehicles or retirement supplemental vehicles. Let me clear off the screen because it's looking a little sloppy here. So to reiterate, we understand that there's negatives associated with retirement accounts. There's, advisor fees, 401k related fees, mutual fund related fees, and the potential of downward market losses. So, but understand 401ks still serve a purpose. They're an incentive for an employee to stay at a specific company. So rather than, you have an individual that's working for company ABC and they might be paying this person, $100,000, but providing them with a 5% match on their 401k, as opposed to, company XYZ that comes around and wants to now give this person $102,000 of a salary, but does not offer any sort of retirement benefits. It might make sense to stay with that company with the 401k because they're providing you free money on anything that you're placing into. It's basically because you're saving your monies into a 401k plan, they're incentivizing you to do so, and they're going to give you a match. So therefore, if this person places 5% of their salary into a 401k plan, the company is also going to match them 5%, meaning $10,000 is going to go into the plan, as opposed to this company, if they offered a 401k with no match, well, this person will be placing $5,000 into the plan, 5%, and there will be no match. It'll only be $5,000 going into that bucket. So the employer match is fantastic regarding 401k plans. The downside is the negatives that individuals just don't really care to, worry about, and they just want to see their accounts go up, go up, go up. So some of our recommendations, they require utilizing insurance-based products for that safety and that consistent growth. What I mean by that is you could use, depending upon your age and really depending upon your situation, if you have a little over a 10, 15-year time horizon that you want to retire, there's ways on how you could leverage your 401k plans, make sure that you're placing in the exact match, make sure that you have everything correlated to exactly what your risk tolerance is on one side, and then you could utilize an overfunded cash value plan known as a retirement insurance contract, an overfunded IUL, but it has to be set up a specific type of way that you're able to shove a portion of your salary into a type of plan and grow out cash value to give you tax-free growth, tax-free income, and leave a tax-free death benefit to your beneficiaries that are not susceptible to 401k related fees, not susceptible to mutual fund related fees, not susceptible to the different advisor fees, and most importantly, the downward market loss potential that really impacts retirement accounts. So that is what I use for my own money. It's because it gives me peace of mind, it gives me safety, it gives me consistency. If I want to retire before the age of 60, I could do that with those cash value plans. But to each his own. Some people like to be super aggressive. Can I go and throw my dollars into speculation? And do I think I'm, savvy enough to manage my own funds? Of course. But I like to have that peace of mind. I like to have those floors of 0% when the market goes down, cap rates up to as high as 17% whenever the market goes up based upon the indexing strategies, based upon the product lines. So that could be a decent way. Now, once again, if I'm looking to retire in the next 5 years, 10 years, I wouldn't go with a cash value plan. I think that, really depends upon a case-by-case basis with how somebody wants to accumulate their wealth. But as long as you're mindful of reverse dollar cost averaging, you could prevent it. You could understand and maybe say, I want to look really closely into mutual fund performance or mutual fund related fees or advisor fees. Is it justified to go and, hire financial advisors? So that's what I want as the takeaway. It's not necessarily give you crazy recommendations on what you should do. It's just be mindful of it. And yes, there are options. If you're interested in seeing more of that safe, consistent route, that's something that we could help you guys out with. And we explain it to you because, 95% of those plans are set up a horrible way where you have to see, what is the benefit of the agent that's offering it to you? What sort of compensation do they receive? And then how is the plan structured properly to make sure that they're not placing you in a product just to get a bunch of commissions and you're never going to hear from them again. You want to make sure that you're stripping away any sorts of costs, any sorts of expenses, so you have nice accumulation into those plans at all angles. So now what happens to individuals that say, okay, well, I want to retire in the next 10 years, 12 years, 5 years, 2 years. What happens with all those individuals? Well, they're probably going to have a whole slew of different retirement savings saved up, whether that's in 401k monies, IRA monies, 403b monies, their savings plan monies, 457s, regular cash accounts. However that's segmented, make sure that you're positioning those dollars properly. You're not going to commingle cash and IRA related accounts because you're going to have certain taxation and certain tax penalties with those accounts. So always be mindful, make sure that you're segmenting them properly from qualified retirement accounts to non-qualified accounts. Now, if we go through an example, how could somebody properly retire if they've saved up their retirement savings, if they have proper retirement savings? And it all breaks down to the three main criteria. It goes by income sources. You want to make sure in retirement that you could at least cover what your expenses are with guaranteed income. So what I mean by that is, let's say if somebody has $600,000 in retirement savings, and that's a combination of qualified accounts and non-qualified accounts. They're currently 60 years old, and they're looking to retire at age 65. Well, you're not going to want to place dollars into a cash value plan because you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot. The expenses are going to be too high, and you're pulling out the money too fast. Not going to be a good avenue. With this individual, at age 65, maybe that's when they want to stop working. They say, I have $600,000 currently that's saved up. I want to stop working the day I hit 65 years old. So we want to look at their situation. Okay, what exactly are going to be your expenses? And we have budgeting sheets to help you guys out with this, but what exactly are your expenses to the decimal point at age 65? Let's say if it comes back that this individual has $60,000 worth of expenses. Okay, well, what are your guaranteed income sources? What is your Social Security? If they have $30,000 of Social Security, maybe they have another $20,000 of pension income, and then they don't have anything else coming to them on an income side. Well, this tells us really simply that They have $50,000 of guaranteed income sources, but they need $60,000. So therefore, we have a bucket of $600,000. Rather than risk all those monies to reverse dollar cost averaging into speculation and variable accounts, which were all those different negatives that I listed before, you could also add on when you're trying to pull money from those types of accounts, from an account that could potentially go down, you're pulling out income from an account that can go down that you're paying fees on, and you also have inflation, basically inflation risk. You have longevity risk of how long someone's going to be living to. You have social security risk. There's a whole slew of different risks in there that you just want to break it down to a bare bones minimum. So what I mean by that is if we understand that this gap is $10,000, well, what exactly can we place in? What sort of insurance contract on a safe, consistent basis can we place those dollars into, the smallest amount of the 600,000 to get placed in at this guy's current age 60 that's going to get triggered at age 65 without losing control. So the second portion, without losing control, that just means you're using income riders instead of annuitization. But ultimately what we're trying to do is look at what's needed and then plan backwards. So out of this, let's say that for male age 60, looking to retire in 5 years, the best contracts that come back require a $125,000 deposit with company A, a $175,000 deposit with company B, and a $230,000 deposit with company C. Well, if they're all rated the same way, have the same similar benefits, we want to only place $125,000 that will accomplish their goal at age 65 of that $10,000 gap. So what we're doing over here is we're using $125,000 out of the $600,000. $475,000 is now left over, and $125,000 is placed into that specific type of a contract. Most of the time they're going to be generated through annuities, but there are some also alternative investments that someone could use as well. But just on a safety aspect, annuities are typically going to be the go-to. That's going to cover their income need. What happened? We didn't take $600,000 and throw it into an annuity. We took $125,000. We placed only the amount that was necessary to accomplish their income goal. The second aspect is regarding emergency funds. They have $475,000 left over. Typically, you're supposed to be utilizing about 6 to 12 months of what your emergency funds are, what your expenses are into emergency funds. So let's just say we'll add another $100,000 that you could leave into money market accounts, fixed accounts, savings accounts, whatever that case may be. So out of this 475, 100,000 gets shaved off, and then you have 375 that you could utilize into your fund monies. Now that could be invested in speculation. Now that you could go and take that market risk because you already have your golden parachute of your Social Security, pension, annuity income. You have your substantial amount of emergency funds, and then this last aspect is for inflationary protection. Whether that means laddering more annuities to give you step-ups in income every few years, you could accomplish that goal that way. So instead of using $125,000, maybe you're using $175,000 in different annuity products, or you could just try to grow that account to make sure that it's beating out the pace of inflation, and set it up that way. So I'm going to clear off the screen. So I just wanted to give you just some honest feedback, some different things that we get whenever we get calls in, every day on a national basis. These are some different things that come up. And when you're looking at the 30,000-foot view, how exactly can you break it down most simplistically? What exactly do you guys have? What is your current situation? And then how can you plan accordingly? How could you be most efficient with your plan? And that's why we always recommend in every video, we say, call our 1-800 number for any help. 1-800-566-1002. What you could expect is you're going to be speaking to an assistant. You call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Someone will pick up, and they're going to ask you, what you're calling in for, and then they're going to transfer you over to a specialist. When you're speaking with that specialist is going to ask you a slew of questions to try to understand your situation better. And then based upon what you're currently doing, they might recommend just stay put. Don't make any changes whatsoever. You're going to get to that finish line successfully, or we might have to give you some recommendations to make sure that you're leveraging your assets better, you're positioning yourself better, so that ultimately you could be confident in your retirement. We're A+ rated on the Better Business Bureau. We've always had very good reviews. We've never had any complaints. It's because of this methodical process. I want to thank you very much, guys, throughout the years for subscribing to my YouTube channel, leaving comments, feedbacks, all of that. And if you ever want to have a conversation, just call in and we could discuss some things. But I want to thank you very much for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not already. Retire Sharp, or visit our website retiresharp.com, and we'll get you access to the most updated videos. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.